Hey, I'm Brian. I've been a new dad 3 times, and every time I stayed quiet about the hardest questions. If you're in year 1 right now, just know it's okay to open up. I'm doing that here week by week, so you don't have to go through this alone. So, will my wife ever want me again? If you're in week 5, forget want, right? Does my wife even want to be in the same room with me right now? I mean, that's the more realistic question, right? Because up until week 5, you guys are probably at each other's throats, right? I know I was with my wife. I mean, not literally, but um, there were some tense moments, right? So there was some just trying to navigate this new life with this new baby that, you could put anybody there, right? It could be, my best friend or my mom, right? But just anytime you introduce a baby into the equation, um, there's still going to be that adjustment of who does what and um, and that fatigue, right? That fatigue hits you like nothing else, especially at 2 a.m. when nothing can put the baby to sleep. But, if you're asking the question, does my wife, will my wife ever want me again? That tells me that you've made it, you survived, right? You guys are at a point now where maybe the schedule's a bit more routine and you're in a good rhythm, and maybe you can start to build those steps back to the romance stage, right? Um, or maybe not, right? Or maybe you're just so tired that that's the last thing you're thinking of, right? But for me, my week 5 and 6 around that time, um, it was right around the time of our anniversary, me and my wife's wedding anniversary. I want to say it was our 3rd wedding anniversary, and it was around the pandemic time. My son was born in June and June 10th, and our anniversary is June 4th. So we were trying to celebrate it a bit late, about 5, 6 weeks later. And at that time, it was during the pandemic. So I think restaurants just started opening up, and I was able to land a spot at one of our favorite steakhouses. Just a beautiful view overlooking this garden, and it was outdoors. So they had a patio, and it was the summer. And, at that point, we were not allowed to dine indoors, right? So I was pretty happy that I secured a spot for the two of us to celebrate our anniversary, a belated anniversary dinner. And um, I mean, that first date after the first child, it's quite a different conversations that are happening. It's not like those earlier conversations when, those first few dates, that honeymoon stage where, nothing you can say would be wrong, right? Like, she was just so in love with wanting to spend more time with me. We, yeah, it was, we just wanted each other, right? Like, there was a lust, right? That maybe is missing when you have a child. We just wanted to spend more time, more experiences together. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, right? Just that honeymoon phase, and but when you have a baby, like, you know, she's never wearing any makeup. Not that she has to, but hair's a mess, in PJs all day, still recovering, right? And you wonder if there's ever going to be that romance again, because when we were at that dinner, it wasn't like, hey, what's your, where do you see yourself in a few years? What's your favorite food? Tell me about your family, right? Those first date questions. It was more, how do we, how do we, how do we stop a gassy baby from getting gassier? How can we get the baby to feed more, right? Is the baby warm enough at night? Who should take the first diaper change? Who should take the second one? Should we have our parents over more to help out, right? Very logistical, very, it's basically a coordination meeting, right? Like one of those pre-planning meetings, and it happened to be at our anniversary dinner, so yeah, you wonder if that desire is ever going to come back, right? Where it's just the two of you and you're just so excited for the next time you see each other. But yeah, that time is definitely not now. That time is definitely not now. And I think I've come to realize that this is just a certain phase in the relationship, right? The relationship isn't all romance. I mean, there's love there, but there's always, there can be love and there doesn't have to be romance, right? Because, knowing what I know now, 3 kids later, that stage is necessary, right? That friction stage where the two of you are trying to figure out how to manage this baby, how to take care of this baby. Those fights, man, that's what marriage is about, right? But because prior to that point, me and my wife, we didn't, we had a fight here and there, but it was never anything soul searching, right? We would just get to the bottom of it and move on, right? But when you're fighting with each other and have zero sleep and just fatigued to, 100th degree, it's different. It's different. And when you decide to have kids, it's just you're in a different stage of your life, right? And priority there, there's multiple priorities, but the number one priority is your child, and figuring out how to work with each other to manage their life and you're just figuring out your parenting style, right? Just figuring out so many new things that you might have to put your love life on the back burner. And that's okay. I think that's okay. Because I don't think you're ever going to get to that lustful stage again, that honeymoon stage. It's just the lack of familiarity is. You're so familiar with each other now, right? But you learn to be better partners, I think, right? Romance might not be there, but you definitely learn to work better as partners, communicate more, tell each other what's wrong, what's not working, right? Like that's a true partnership, right? And so the romance side, there'll be a time for that again, right? Maybe when the kids are older and it's just you two again, right? Maybe kids are all grown up and now maybe we've downsized our house and I'm traveling the world and we can maybe get close like that again, right? But I think it's perfectly normal to ask this question, right? If your wife ever wants you again. But that's the beauty of it, man. Life gives you different phases of a relationship. It's not always lust and romance. Sometimes it's coordination and planning and learning to work with each other. And I think that's the beauty in it, man. That's what makes marriage a true partnership. So, you might have to put the love on the side for a bit, but over time, man, I think you'll find yourself growing closer with your wife. At least I think I have.